highlight of the day. So I'm in my car right now recording, audios and stuff. And out of my school, outside of my school is like these guys that usually sell. They usually sell like T-shirts and hats and whatever. But this time they didn't have anything, so they're just going up to people, telling them to roll down their windows. And he came up to me, and I'm like, he's like saw me, and I had my mic on my shirt on my hoodie, and he was like, "Oh, you a YouTuber, twin? Are you a YouTuber?" And I'm like, just laughing, just nervously laughing. And he was like, "Bro, I'm a YouTuber too. Don't do me like that." Because the light turned green at some point, and I was like, taking my foot off the brake so my car can go forward. He was like, "Don't do me like that." And I'm like, "Bro, the light is green. The light is green." And yeah, that was pretty cringe. Someone was like, "You a YouTuber?" That was kind of cringe. That was very cringe in my opinion. But onto what I kind of want to actually talk about. So this was maybe a month ago, some time ago. I was fasting with my dad, or I was beginning my fast with my dad. It was either Monday or Thursday, and we were listening to this imam. I don't remember his name, but my dad listens to him pretty often. And he basically he was talking about a story of these kind of like young group of kids. These young kids, like maybe late teens, early 20s, and so one of them kind of like wanted to get a hold of like porn, or not one of them, all of them. They wanted to get a hold of porn, and so they found like a website where they can like subscribe to it, and they all didn't have money. So one of them that like was in a more, I guess, financially stable situation was like, okay, I'll pay for it, and I'll just email you guys I'll just forward you guys all the things, all the pornography. And at some point, that email list became like so large that like more and more people wanted to be sent porn. So instead, what he did, he just kind of like listed people, and he had like automatic like things just sent out like weekly, I think. Um, and it was like a subscription, so it was a maybe a yearly subscription from the way the story was told. But at some point later on, the guy who was sending all the porn, he died. So they hold a funeral and everything for him, and with him already passed, his email is still automatically sending out those images, and his friends and family, they're going to the website manager or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, how can we cancel this thing?" And they were like, "Sorry, we can't do anything about that. We can't, uh, you know, it's gonna stop sending until his subscription runs up, which would be like towards the end of that year." So for a couple of months, I think it was like maybe 4 months or so, people every week were like 20 plus people every week were still getting sent porn from this dead guy's email account. So basically, at postpartum, nah, that's not the right term. After his death, he was basically known as the guy that was sending porn. So, and that's kind of like a sad story when you think about it, right? You die, and like your email account, everything, your digital self is like still being active, and it's just like still sending porn. Just sending like all these images to people who are like grieving over their friend, and they get an email from that friend, and then it's porn. It's porn that they had them send them, however long ago. And he was going on the topic of kind of like live your life now as to how you want to be remembered. So the way I kind of think of that situation is like, that statement is absolutely correct, right? You want to be taking the proper steps right now in order to live the life that you want to be remembered for. So would you want to be remembered if you were to be stricken down right now? Do you want to be remembered as the guy who was sending porn to everybody? Do you want to be remembered as the guy who, I don't know, was addicted to alcohol? Do you want to be remembered now as the guy who was a shut-in and like, never went outside or had any friends? Like, do you want to be remembered as that person? Do you want to be remembered as the Discord furry who stayed inside all day, never seeking sunlight to any degree? Uh, so it's like, you have to find, for step one, find things in your life that kind of add purpose or add value, even if it's something that is just very minuscule or little. Like maybe you like to write poems, so just write poems. Maybe write a poem every day, write a poem every week. Um, maybe you like to do some programming, so start programming, start learning how to program better. Maybe even work your way up to make like a little game or some type of interactive website or something like that. And then that way, you might make an impact on other people. So I'm pretty sure most of us, when we die, we want to be remembered as someone who has helped out other people, someone who has impacted other people's lives, someone who, was able to bring value to other people. We don't even, we like, I'm pretty sure most people in general want to be remembered. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be like, nah, I want to be forgotten. But I mean, technically, that's just the way history works. Technically, we're all going to be forgotten in time. Um, that's just how things work. I mean, do you remember the guy? Do you remember Hitler's best friend? Like, no, but you remember Hitler. So there's certain aspects in life, but it's like, again, do you want to be remembered as someone that was like Hitler, or do you want to be remembered as someone who is like example like Jesus, right? Two completely different types of people. Um, and so it's like, live your life how you want to be remembered. Now I don't know if Hitler wanted to be remembered as someone who killed Jewish people or someone who was anti-Semitic, racist, all these other things. But still, it's like, I'm not supporting Hitler in any degree, but still, what he did in his lifetime has made an impact on how we live our lives today. So that can either be good or bad. And most of the time, I'm pretty sure in general, most of us want to have a good impact on the world around us. Maybe I'm going to say most of us will not make an impact on the world like how, let's say, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, has innovated music and whatnot for generations now at this point. And that's something he was passionate about. He went for something he was incredibly passionate about and dedicated like his life to it, and it allowed him to make this type of impact on people. But again, it's like, there's only a few people in this world that will do that. There's only a few people in this world that will make decisions that will impact the next millions of people to be born, the next billions of people to be born, right? People still might be listening to Michael Jackson 100 years from now. But is someone going to be listening to, let's say, who's a throwaway rapper? Is anybody going to be listening to the Baby? Nobody even listens to the Baby now. So is anybody going to be listening to him 100 years from now? No, probably not, right? People are probably still going to be listening to Mozart or Beethoven 100 years from now. That's how like strong those types of just things hold into this world. There's so many things into this world that hold on. And then look, now you're remembered as someone who has been basically the creator of music and how we enjoy music and elevating the taste of generations to come. But it's like, I'm not trying to be a downer or a doomer or whatever, but most of us will not reach that situation. But we have to make best of what is within our lives. Maybe you are the next Mozart, maybe you are the next Beethoven or something like that. But maybe it's not in terms of something as big as music. Maybe it's in terms of, whatever little niche or category that you are devoted in, something that you're passionate about, like I said with Michael Jackson, he's passionate about music. Have something that you're passionate about and work towards it like every single day of your life. Have that be you, basically. And that way you'll be remembered as someone who was a great musician, maybe someone who was a great painter, someone who was a great writer. You don't want to be remembered as the guy who like was on their phone all day. Just think about, let's say you're a person who's improving their life, and you feel like you're on the right track, and compare yourself now from maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago. If you died now, would compared to maybe 2 years ago, which version of yourself would you be happier with, right? Would you be happy with yourself 2 years ago having had died then, or would you be happy with yourself now having had died now, right? Back then I could even attest for myself. 3 years ago, I was nothing. I was like unmotivated. I was lazy. I would procrastinate a lot. I feel like I still procrastinate, but a lot then, definitely. I wasn't really devoted to anything. I was out of shape, of course. I felt really bad about myself. I had low self-esteem. And if I had died then, what would I have been remembered for? What would I have really have done? You know, and if I were to die now, I mean, still, I feel like there's so much that I still have to accomplish. But at least if I were to die now, I'd be a lot more satisfied because I know that I would have been working towards just a bunch of goals and aspirations of mine, every day for the past, like, maybe 2 years or a year now. So it's like, you just have to kind of get to that point. I'm not saying you should accept, well, no, you should accept death because nothing in this life is promised to you except death. And so we just have to get these things in our lives, in our heads that like, hey, I'm gonna I'm gonna want to do great things in my life. I'm gonna want to impact the people around me, even if it's just a small circle, even if it's like 5 people. It doesn't matter because then they can spread your message. They can spread what it is that you try to convey to people, and then that can spread around, be benefited to other because, like I said, like before in the previous video, I said this before, like energies can be transferred, right? There's good energies, there's bad energies, and both of them can be transferred. It's like a sickness, right? Do you want people to be sick and wicked, or do you want people to be sick and rad? Wicked in a bad way. I know there's like a good way. Some people think like wicked, dude, that's good, but that's besides the point. So again, just live your life now how you want to be remembered tomorrow, basically, right? If you were to die now, how would you feel? Would you be satisfied with that? Would you be okay? I'm pretty sure most of us would say no, because I'm pretty sure most of us still want to do more things in our lives. But are you working? The difference is, are you working towards those things now? Are you holding them off until at a later point? And if you were to die now, having not done anything, or having not worked towards anything, or having not tried anything, which would you feel worse from? You know, I would assume you'd probably feel a lot better if you were to die, being a person that was working towards things, that was driven, that was motivated, things like that. So yeah, see you in the next video.